The Tale of Prince Nathaniel and Andrew. A shadowy phantom. As evening approached, Prince Nathaniel himself stared out of his window miserably. Nathaniel actually wished he wasn't a prince. Princes had to do boring things like prince studies, ballroom dancing, golfing, fancy clothes wearing, being told off that his voice was too high-pitched. The king thought that princes should have deep, manly voices. Nathaniel sighed as he lay in his bed. Suddenly, he heard a sound outside. Taking his royal lamp, he opened his room door. Pitter, patter, creak, thud. Nathaniel took a golf club and went downstairs. Could it be a phantom? Be brave, he thought. He saw that the door was open a crack. He peered outside and saw a shape in the snow. A young girl curled up in the snow. She was frozen. Kindness in Nathaniel carried her into his room, wrapped her in his dressing gown, and got some hot cocoa from the kitchen. Cocoa's always available in there. The girl finally awoke. She looked around in terror and said, "Where am I?" "In the palace. Please drink some cocoa. You are very cold," said Nathaniel. She stared at him for a long time before finally raising her cup and spilled hers all over the carpet. "I'll get some more," said Nathaniel, grabbing the cup and running outside. When he came back with a full cup, she was gone. Could she have been a phantom after all? Ruined vegetables. Barely any time passed before spring had sprung and snow was melting. Nathaniel went for a gallop on the hill on his horse, Tulip. He was excited before seeing they were running over vegetables. Vegetables? Hiss! Grrr! Something leapt out at Nathaniel and Tulip. The horse twisted around to flee, throwing Nathaniel down her back and into a pile of soft dirt. Looking up, Nathaniel saw a sooty girl pantsing at Tulip. 'Twas the girl he had saved before. The girl scurried towards Nathaniel angrily before a thread of recognition slipped across her face. She suddenly bent down to say, "Oh, do pardon me, sir. Was just protecting my vegetables." Nathaniel got up and smiled politely. "Never mind, young miss," said Nathaniel. "By the way, what's your name? Prince Nick or something?" asked the girl. "No," exclaimed the prince. "It's Prince Nathaniel Scott Charles Kingsley, actually, and my initials spell Nick." "My name is Andrew," said the girl. "I get my food by doing jobs here and there, and I live in my own hand-built shelter." Nathaniel was astonished. The shelter was simply a little tent, so small that it would barely take up half his four-poster bed. Splat! A drop of water fell onto Nathaniel's head. It was raining. "I must go now," he said, using a leaf as an umbrella. His head was flooded with questions. How did she get past the gate that winter? And how could she even be so poor? Andrew's story. 2 days later, Nathaniel was going outside with his mother, the Queen. Suddenly, he saw Andrew talking with another, less poor girl. "So, Anne, how was your laugh?" Andrew sighed. "Not too simple if you ask me." "A long time ago, I lived in a warm family, middle income, was named Annabelle Josie." My mother was so kind, telling me that we should love animals before letting them lie down on her lap. For the first 5 years of my life, I lived like a princess. We used to live in another town back then, and we came here on a trip. I tripped on something while dashing towards the train, but Mom didn't notice. The train took off, and I was so little back then, only about 6, I didn't know what to do. Barely a few hours passed before a successful tailor and his family saw me. He thought he could make me his helper without pay by taking me home. Mom would probably have come back, but I went with him. I was so silly back then. Angel chuckled. I lived there for 3 years, eating little and sleeping in the attic, until one day I saw the tailor whipping his horse. The sound being treated unwell, I can't stand it. So just as the fire started in the house, I fled into the woods. There were a few kids living by the forest back then, and they taught me how to survive. But then they moved away, and I stood at the top of the hill and told myself, "You ain't nothing now, girl, nothing," until I met the prince. "Nathaniel!" The prince jumped as the queen blared in his ear. "These disgusting little beggars don't deserve to be watched by our royal eyes." He wanted to say, "She isn't a beggar," but how could he? "Yes, mother." The palace newspaper. A royal letter. Dear book citizens, we sincerely apologize for the story delay, but there's no need to worry. The rest of the story will be in The Tale of Prince Nathaniel and Angel 2. Do feel free to subscribe our channel. Yours royally, Queen Bee of her channel.